Welcome back. Hour number 2 here on The Herd. Jason McIntyre in for Colin Cowherd. My last go-around here for a little bit. I'll be off for 10 days. Very much looking forward to it. You will not find me on Twitter. I can't stand it. Instagram's a different story. And I'm joined today by Alex Curry, who's a huge deal on Instagram, obviously.
Oh, stop. Does this kind of feel like it's like your last day of school?
No, that would be if I got the month off.
No. And anytime like you're leaving for a trip and you're like working the same day, I'm always like, it feels like the last day of school. It's the only thing that's kind of equivalent to that from like when we were in school, you know?
So
Looking
my kids are coming to me. They're like, oh, Dad, you want to play pickleball 10 a.m. tomorrow?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to work. And they're like, oh, that stinks. I was like,
for you. I do it all for you.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, listen, enjoy your summers now. You've got like maybe 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 of them. And then you got to be working, right?
Harsh truth. Yeah.
It stinks.
I mean, I was working in high school. I've always worked.
In the summer?
Uh-huh. Summer camps.
Come on.
I was a camp counselor.
You were making some money.
Yeah.
All right. We got a great guest coming up in about 8 minutes. He actually texted with Dak Prescott after Dak's photo went viral of the booted up right foot. So we'll talk to Clarence Hill in about 8 minutes. But first, I've never done this on the show. I'm not a huge fan of these tiers, but, you know, the staff is like, you got some takes on these tiers. I'm like, you know it. You know I do. So I went and broke down all 32 teams. I put them in Super Bowl tiers. I have 5 tiers. So I guess let's roll the tiers. So starting at the bottom with absolutely no shot, you got the Denver Broncos. They stink. Patriots, awful. New York Giants, dumpster fire. Raiders, not very good. And a bit of a surprise entrant in the Arizona Cardinals, who I don't think are very good this year. The schedule is brutal. Not a ton of talent. I think they're in a wait-and-see year where it's like, is Kyler Murray our guy? We'll see. But that group is absolutely no shot at anything. Next up, we've got they need a prayer. These 7 teams need a prayer to get to the playoffs or Super Bowl, starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry, guys. As much as I've liked Russell Wilson, it ain't happening. That team is not very good. Schedule's daunting. No thank you. I think the Bucs take a big step back, losing a great offensive coordinator in Canales. Listen, it's not a knock on Baker. I don't see it duplicating this year. The Saints are the team that irked me to no end last season. Folks, I was all in on them, schedule, everything. I just looked at the off-season ranking for offensive lines. The Saints are 32nd, according to one report. 32nd! And we know Carr stinks under pressure. Saints, they're not going to be good. Vikings, Alex and I talked about them earlier. Good team, but they're going to need a prayer in that division. Washington, I'm not feeling the hype. Cowherd loves them. I don't see it. Carolina Panthers, the only team in this group which kind of has the arrow pointing up. If you remember, last month we had on a guy, Adam Chernoff. His group bet the Panthers win total over, moved it from 4.5 to 5.5. I'm telling you, Panthers are a buy team for me. And then the Tennessee Titans, they're not very good, but they got a lot of new pieces. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not in that final bottom group. Mid, that's what the young kids like to say. How's my fit today? Oh, that's mid, Dad. Not great. That's how I feel about these teams. Dolphins, they pull back a little. Falcons, are they that good? They're the one argument they should be up higher. Rams, obviously, made the playoffs last year. I don't know if Stafford's going to stay healthy again. Bears on the uptick. Jags, I don't know what to make of the Jags, folks. I can't put them in a tier higher. They're not lower. Colts is another team on the uptick. Keep an eye on the Colts. If Richardson's healthy, they are going to be in contention for a playoff spot. And then Seattle, I don't know what to do with Seattle. Wacky season. Now, the second tier, which we're calling in the mix for the Super Bowl, is lengthy. Obviously, Buffalo, I know people are going to say, wait, Buffalo, why aren't they in the top? I think Alex and I talked about the Ravens. A lot of people have Ravens in the top. I'm just telling you, Ravens, last year, obviously a charmed season. They had home field advantage, Lamar MVP. They lost a lot of dudes. Offensive line, defensive coordinators gone. There will be a pullback from the Ravens, folks. I'm getting in front of it. I don't know that they're going to be like a 9-win team, but they will certainly not be the cream of the crop in the AFC. Eagles, I like, and they nearly made the top list for me. Texans, I can't go all in. I know Alex and I talked about them earlier. I can't put them in the top tier. Cowboys, we'll see. They've got a lot of question marks. Everybody loves the Packers. Now, the Chargers, I think, have the lowest win total of the in the mix crowd. But I'm just telling you, their schedule is cake. They're here based on the schedule. And keep an eye on the Browns, who I think are a little undervalued. Their offensive line returning healthy, it's so beat up last year. I like the Browns. And finally, the top tier, the favorites. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The New York Jets. They are there, folks. No cap. 49ers obviously are there. They're the favorites. The Chiefs are going to be in the mix, to win the Super Bowl. I don't like it, but that's the reality. Detroit Lions are very good. They will be knocking on the door. And yes, the Cincinnati Bungles, who finished last place in the division last year. And every year somebody goes worst to first. Now, it's a little cheesy to go, a team with a good record to go worst to first, but that's what the Bengals were, toughest division in football. I have a lot of notes on the Jets. I'm not going to go too deep here, but I have them favored in 13 of 17 games. Pro Football Focus has their offensive line. They were 31st last year. They're 5th this year because it got so much better. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers' Achilles is everything, but the offensive line is way better. Pass defense, number 1 in the NFL. A guy at ESPN said the Jets linebackers graded out as tied with the Niners as the best in the league. Folks, this team is stacked, ridiculously stacked. If healthy, and let's just assume health for everybody, I'm telling you, the Jets will be in the mix. We can make fun of Aaron Rodgers' Egypt nonsense, but I'm on record. The Jets will be in the mix. Favorites, one of the top 5, one of the 5 favorites to win the Super Bowl. And Vegas, guys, kind of sort of agrees with me. All right, there it is. Our next guest, I'm sure he's going to have some opinions on it. He's probably not going to like it. Clarence Hill. He is one of the foremost members of the Dallas Cowboys media throng. He's been covering the Cowboys since '97. All right, Clarence, let's hear it. You hate my Super Bowl tears. Come on.
Listen, I was actually texting, so I really didn't hear your tears. With all due respect, your Super Bowl tears. Come on, man.
No, here we go. Here it is. Come on, man.
Come on, man. How you got the Jets up there?
They're loaded. They're stacked.
How do you have the Bengals up there?
You don't like the Bengals?
What have they done since they made the Super Bowl?
Well, they were injured last year, but I think Burrow's really good.
It's been 2 years. It wasn't just 1 year, though.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's go.
We love the Bengals, but since they made the Super Bowl, what have they done?
Well, they haven't really done much. They've lost some players. They kept Jamar Chase. Exactly. They kept Joe Burrow.
Exactly.
So you're down. Are the Bengals not a playoff team or just not a Super Bowl favorite?
I'm not down on them not a playoff. You said Super Bowl tier. You're putting them in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, What have they done since they shockingly made the Super Bowl that year?
That was a bit of a shocker.
Came out of nowhere and made the Super Bowl that year.
I mean, listen, not a lot of guys have beat Mahomes in the postseason. Beat him on the road.
Exactly. But we can't live on that forever.
True. I think they got the better of the Chiefs in the regular season, too. It's just Burrow's that good. And I guess I'm betting on one of the top quarterbacks in the league. But speaking of texting, how's Dak doing? How's he holding up? But break it all down for us.
Dak is fine. I mean, I've talked to a trainer, guy who did his rehab, certainly talked to Dak Prescott. And according to Dak, according to everybody, this is normal maintenance. I know everybody's thinking, oh, yeah, sure, that's what they're saying. But I've been talking to Dak since he suffered the tragic fractured ankle in 2020. And he talks about he has to do normal maintenance. This is a lifelong maintenance thing. That was a gruesome, tragic injury. You go back to that game and see how his foot was turned, and certainly did the surgery and came back. He's not missed any games due to that ankle since then, but he does have maintenance. And he said it swells up on him sometimes, and he's being precautious. Certainly, you saw him on vacation, getting ready to get on a boat, and so that's part of the normal maintenance with him. Remember, he didn't miss any games last year. He was unlike Aaron Rodgers, who was somewhere points wherever. He was at OTAs. He was at off season. He was at minicamp. Did not have any issues during that. Certainly, he was at tight end. Again, this is normal maintenance according to them. We have to believe them at face value. He's not wearing the boot anymore. So until we see something different in training camp, That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's been a tumultuous offseason for Dallas. Is that fair to say? You got the piece where
Oh, no question.